Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is a really exciting one because I was emailed from Figma saying that they had their config conference and that they had announced this new feature called Figma Motion, which immediately caught my eye. The one thing that I've always said is I just wish that Figma had like an ability to animate these designs that I'm building. Well, now they do because of Figma Motion, and it's actually pretty exciting. So even when I'm like creating motion graphics inside of After Effects, I like to build it inside of Figma because I like to just build with auto layout and have everything be perfect and, proper padding and margin. And then I copy that as an SVG. I paste it into Illustrator. I save it as a .ai file. I do all the things like separate the layers, and then I import it into After Effects, and then I animate it from there. And so I've done that for the last couple of years, and it's not the most convenient, but it works, and it's a lot better, I think, than designing inside of After Effects. But now seeing this has definitely made me hopeful about what the future is. And I've been playing with it just for this past hour. I haven't watched a single tutorial on it. I just watched the announcement from Figma, and then I just jumped into it, and it's very intuitive and easy to use. So I've also made a couple videos on this channel about Rive, and I have really enjoyed using Rive. And I think this is definitely their approach into getting into Rive or like Lottie files, but they're still pretty far ways away from that, but you can definitely see the potential of this, and I think that it's encouraging. So these are just like two animations that I had built out. So I actually, this past week before Figma Motion was even created, I made this new lower third that I built inside of After Effects. Well, I designed it in Figma, then brought it into After Effects, and then animated it. And this is the lower third that I created. It's nothing fancy, pretty simple. And I was like, okay, so can I create, this same animation inside of Figma Motion, and is it going to be relatively straightforward and easy to do? Well, this is kind of what I came up with, and I've run into one problem, and again, I've only been working on this for an hour that I haven't solved, and it's this box. I can't figure out how to get this box to be a layer behind the purple box, because if you see in this one, it's not there, and then it kind of appears underneath it. So I'll play it, and so it's a little bit different, like different speed. It's way faster, but it gets across basically the exact same animation besides this box appearing. So the reason I'm not sure how to fix it is because this has been built with auto layout. So this has got auto layout applied. And as a motion graphic, I understand that you don't need auto layout. Like I could break my auto layout, or I could make this position absolute, and I'm sure that would be fine. If I try to, in the layers panel, I move it up. Let's see what's going on here. If I try moving this to the bottom, this gets all moved up, and I'm unable to swap around my layers in this down here. So this is like your timeline. Like if you've used After Effects, this is here. This is where your keyframes are all done, and where pretty much the majority of your editing is done. And I'm unable to move layers here. So that's something that I would like to be able to do. From my understanding, Figma does not have a Z index built into here, and I could see that this would prove that it's about time that they do that. Because if I had a simple Z index, I could just have set the purple to a higher Z index. So that's a small thing. I don't really need to spend that much time on it. But as you can see, this is just not even knowing how to use the thing. But it's all been pretty intuitive, and luckily there's been a foundation of how layer-based motion design is done, with After Effects being the king of it, and then Rive really taking a lot of that, and I think also improving upon it. If you've had experience with Figma and you've had experience with After Effects, you're going to just see how it really does go actually pretty well together, because I can have this text appear within that box by having it be that's the container, and I can just clip the content over here, and that adds it as its own track mask. So that's really cool that it's able to do all that. And if I was doing that inside of After Effects, then you have to it's just a couple extra steps in order to do that same thing. And then what I've really been impressed with is just how the easing works. You get this little highlight here that you click here, and then this pops up. So this is very similar to Framer. It's very similar to Rive. And I actually like it. So if I compare it to After Effects, you've got your graph editor here. And the graph editor, I will say, is more powerful, but it's just also more complicated. And it can get really messy if you start having multiple things, and it can get a little complicated. But I actually really appreciate this simplified version. So yeah, it's not like Figma who pioneered this. I mean, Framer and Rive have done this long before them, but I like that they've adopted that same system, and it's really easy. And I like how simple it is to just jump here and get to your keyframes, and then if you have multiple keyframes within one, you can just highlight those, and then you can have different easing for different types of keyframes, which is cool. So this is the second one that I did. So this one was a design I made a while ago. This one does not have any auto layout. So this one is easier to move things. Like this cursor that I just quickly made up was behind this layer. So it was hiding, but I can just kind of move things around. It worked like it would work inside of After Effects, so I appreciate that. But yeah, just again, this is nothing super crazy. I'm not any crazy motion designer, but this is all just basic keyframes with some easing. And, I think you can create some pretty interesting stuff. So what is the potential of this, and what's really the use case for it? Because what's really cool is the fact that they allow you to be able to export this. So I can come here and I can export it into the format. So MP4, WM, GIF, and SVG. I can set my frame rate, my quality, the size. You can have it. It'll be based on the dimension of your frame that you set. This isn't a really big frame, and it's definitely taken a whole lot slower than After Effects. But it's working its way. This is 58 kilobytes. So let's see how it looks. Okay, I mean 58 kilobytes, that's actually not terrible quality for 58 kilobytes. Okay, so this is also kind of interesting. It doesn't allow you to set your frame rate. I don't really know why that is. I feel like you could give us the control. I don't feel like it's that complicated. Yeah, let's see how that goes. So this is now an estimated file size of 27 megabytes. That makes sense. Not a whole lot of control there. I hope that this gets improved. Because I could see that a lot of people are going to want to use this for social content and being able to quickly create some stuff. And I think some people will probably also use it in other ways. Okay, this is a 4K version. Still a little pixelated. Again, I've got a pretty big screen I'm watching this on. This is a 32-inch screen. But yeah, as a serious video person, I would like to have a little bit more control of the output of my render. But hey, so yeah, I'm thinking what is the real use case of this? And I think that they're definitely using this more in the sense for your UIs, being able to add motion to your UIs, bring your software ideas to life or your websites to life. It's going to be really interesting to see how this is going to integrate with something like Claude Code or with the Figma MCP server, because my experience with the MCP server that Figma's offered has been really solid. I've built multiple UIs just fully from my Figma frames with auto layout applied, and then I just bring it into Claude Code, and almost every single time it's gotten it pretty good. And if there's anything that's a little off, it's one or two prompts, and then I'm a great, perfectly good UI that is responsive and works really well. And so what I'm hoping is that this is going to be a similar case with the Figma MCP server, that we're going to be able to transfer all this data, all these keyframes, and you can see it here, which is really cool on the dev mode, how it gives you all this control, and you can see all these properties, how it captures all this in this keyframes, and hopefully it can share all this data with Claude Code, and so that it can recreate your animations like a perfect one-to-one. And then that will be really interesting to be able to add a lot of that manual touch to UIs to make them feel so much more alive. To me, that would be a huge game changer. So I'm really hopeful to see how that is. And I'm really excited to test this in some of the use cases that I've been building out. And if it can do that, then that's going to be a huge game changer. I know that the video side of thing is not its biggest priority probably, but I just see that it's super easy, super convenient. I love designing inside of Figma, and I would love to just be able to stay inside of Figma as much as possible. The biggest thing that I want to see is an ability to export with an alpha channel so that we can have transparent backgrounds. Because right now I'm unable to just have this card element be exported as its own overlay graphic and like overlay it with the video clip because there's no alpha channel export. And so that's something that I would really like to see Figma, bring as they continue to develop this product. So if they could develop that, I would be through the moon excited about that. A few major things that I don't see, at least as I've been playing around, like for this one, for example, this I would like to have this text come on like it's being written on. And so I don't see any like effects like a trim paths or any ability to like add and edit characters. And there might be, but it's just not like super evident just immediately within here. And I'm sure, we're only in beta on this thing, but I would like to see more of those features with these motion graphics tools and platforms to be added to this as well. Like Rive has a lot of that. Like Rive does trim paths really well, and Rive does so many things that After Effects is able to do. I'd like to see Figma replicate that as well. And then the other thing that's really exciting and encouraging is to see how AI works with this. So you can like chat with AI, and I can describe my idea, and then AI can have its go at animating it. And I haven't used this yet, but from what it sounds like, it creates its footprint. So it's able to add your keyframes that you can go in and then manually edit beyond there. So to me, that's really exciting because I feel like so much of like the generative AI work out there that when like tools implement it inside of their software, and I think it's starting to change, but how it's been in the past has been like 100% prompting. Like you have to prompt it in order to make changes. And for me, that's always been really frustrating because as a very visual person, I see things in my head really fast. And the use case I see with AI is to like, let's get me to that end point a lot faster, but I don't want you to do it fully for me. And I don't want to have to try to describe it so that you can do it for me. I think that that is a good use case of AI. I'm not really a fan of generative AI and having just AI do it all for us. I think AI aiding and assisting in parts that are slow or tedious or that allow us to think more creatively is a good use of AI. I would give this 2 thumbs up so far. Like, I think that it's obviously not a perfect product, and I wouldn't expect it to be at this early stage, but it's really impressive. It's really intuitive to use. It's really fast, and I got up to speed on it really quick and easy. I'm really mostly interested to see how this is going to implement, again, with Claude Code and their MCP server. But then I'm also really interested to see if just what this could also mean for the video side of things. Like, I have used After Effects for years and years, and I've in the past have been using the design in Figma, send it to Illustrator, convert it there, separate all my layers, and then add it into After Effects and then animate from there. And it's like just a few too many steps that's inconvenient, but I hate designing inside of After Effects and I like designing inside of Figma. And so I would like to see more of a crossover between this, whether it's just allowing to get a head start in here and then I can like paste it into After Effects and go beyond there. I could see how Adobe maybe wouldn't want to do that since the whole Figma Adobe deal did not go through. I think it would still be a holdup if I had to like export every graphic and then import it into my editor. I would love there to be a way that like these could be compatible with After Effects files, and it could be an After Effects composition, and all this data can translate into the After Effects, and I can continue off of there. Or Figma develops more with this so that there's like variables, and so that I can have, multiple lower third graphics that have auto layout, but I can swap out names, and so I can have a bunch of graphics and I can use these almost like essential graphics in a way. That to me would be really, really exciting if they could go in that direction. And so I can see that could be a possibility. I'm hoping that's where their like ship is aimed. But I guess time will tell on how that is. But so yeah, this is a really exciting time to be a builder, especially if you have a sort of a hybrid within video, motion design, and then like websites and UI design. Because I think that there's going to be more of them crossing over in the future and how they can help one with another. And that's really encouraging for me to see. So that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching and sticking around as I've been kind of just sharing my first initial thoughts on this Figma Motion. Thanks so much. Please give this video a like if you liked it, and I'll see you next time.